He thought he had the perfect marriage until one night, a text popped up on her phone that shattered everything. Not only was his wife cheating, but who she cheated with and what he did next left everyone speechless. This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about power, truth, and walking away with your dignity. He had no idea his world was about to collapse in seconds. Marcus and Aaliyah were the couple everyone looked up to. The kind of love story that made people believe in black excellence. They met in college, built a life from scratch, and turned dreams into reality. Married 5 years, they had it all, or so it seemed. A modern apartment in Atlanta, luxury vacations twice a year, matching outfits on Instagram. Their friends called them goals. But behind the filters and hashtags, something had started to shift. Marcus had poured himself into his clothing brand, late nights, weekend launches, investor meetings. He was opening his second store downtown, and pressure was mounting. He'd tell Aaliyah, "Just a few more months and I can breathe again." She'd nod, smile politely, but her eyes were somewhere else, somewhere far from him. Aaliyah, once bubbly and affectionate, had turned cold. It started small, canceling date nights, checking her phone too often, forgetting anniversaries. She claimed work was overwhelming, that her new clients were demanding. Marcus believed her. He told himself it was just a phase, that once things calmed down, they'd reconnect like always. But the distance grew wider. They stopped laughing like they used to. Conversations turned to silence. Intimacy became rare. Sometimes Marcus would watch her scroll her phone late at night, face lit by the blue screen glow, smiling at something he couldn't see. When he asked, she'd say, "Just memes." He never pushed. He trusted her. Until one night, everything changed. It was a quiet Wednesday. Rain tapped gently against the windows as Marcus worked late in their home office, responding to emails. Aaliyah was asleep on the couch, curled up in a blanket. Her phone buzzed softly on the coffee table. Normally, he wouldn't even look. But something told him to check. A gut feeling he couldn't explain. He reached for the phone, planning only to put it on silent. But the screen lit up. A message flashed across the top. "Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you." From a contact saved as JT, client. His heart stopped. Hands trembling, he unlocked the phone. The passcode hadn't changed. The thread opened like a door to another world, one he didn't belong in. Photos, smiling selfies in hotel rooms, flirty texts, inside jokes, and messages that cut deeper than any blade. He still has no idea. "You make me feel things I haven't felt in years." "When are you telling him?" Marcus stared at the screen, every breath heavier than the last. The woman he shared a life with had been living a second one behind his back, with another man. And not just any man, a white man she met at work. A man she labeled a client, but spoke to like a lover. He looked at her sleeping face, peaceful, innocent. And yet the betrayal burned so deep it made him question everything, every hug, every kiss, every "I love you." In that moment, Marcus didn't scream, didn't cry. He just sat there, heart pounding in a storm of disbelief, staring at a truth he never saw coming. His world hadn't just cracked, it shattered. It was a quiet Wednesday night, the kind where everything felt still, too still. The rain outside tapped softly against the windows, and the hum of Marcus's laptop filled the room. He was sitting at the dining table, lost in spreadsheets and marketing emails, preparing for a pitch to expand his clothing brand. His eyes were tired, but he pushed on, determined to finish strong. On the couch behind him, Aaliyah had dozed off. She looked peaceful, curled up with a throw blanket, her phone resting just inches from her hand. The soft glow of the TV cast shadows on her face. It would have been a warm, ordinary scene, if not for what happened next. Buzz. A single vibration echoed through the quiet. Marcus didn't think much of it. Aaliyah's phone was always going off. Friends, clients, work alerts. Normally, he ignored it. But tonight, something made him look. He reached over, more out of habit than suspicion, planning to put the phone on the charger. As he picked it up, the screen lit up with a message that made his heart stop. Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. The sender. JT, client. At first, he blinked, confused. Maybe it was a joke? Some inside work-related thing? But a cold, heavy feeling settled in his gut. His thumb hovered for just a second before he tapped the message thread. What he saw next was something no husband should ever have to see. Photos. Selfies in dimly lit hotel rooms. Aaliyah in a black dress, smiling. JT with his arm around her. Waist, hotel check-ins. A shot of champagne glasses on a nightstand. And then the words. Messages so raw, so bold, they made Marcus feel like a stranger in his own life. You drive me crazy. I can't wait to feel you again. He still has no idea. I almost feel bad. You look so good in that red dress. Did he even notice? You wore it? Marcus's hand began to tremble. His vision blurred for a moment, but not from exhaustion. This was betrayal, pure, sharp, and cold. The woman he'd trusted, loved, sacrificed for, was living a second life, right under his nose, and she didn't even seem to care if he found out. He stared at her, still asleep on the couch, her breathing steady, her face calm. It was like watching a stranger. He wanted to scream, to shake her awake, to demand an explanation, but he didn't. Instead, Marcus sat back down, phone still in his hand, heart pounding like war drums in his chest. His mind raced with memories, the dinners they shared, the nights they held each other, the way she used to laugh at his stupid jokes. All of it felt like a lie now, a carefully constructed illusion. He didn't know what hurt more, the betrayal itself, or how easily she seemed to carry it. In that moment, Marcus realized something terrifying. The woman he thought he knew, the woman he built a future with, was gone. Or maybe she never really existed at all. The next morning, everything looked normal. The sunlight poured into the kitchen, soft and golden. The smell of eggs filled the air. Toast popped from the toaster. Orange juice chilled in a glass beside. A plate. Marcus moved like clockwork, cracking eggs, flipping them in the pan, plating food just like he had 100 times before. From the outside, it looked like any other day, but inside he was hollow, empty, running on muscle memory, not emotion. He heard the soft shuffle of slippers behind him as Aaliyah walked in, yawning and stretching. She wore the oversized t-shirt he'd bought her last Christmas. Hair tied up in a loose bun, no makeup, still beautiful, still so familiar. She leaned in and kissed his cheek. "Morning, babe," he smiled. Not out of love, out of control. "Morning. So, how's JT?" Her entire body stiffened, like she'd just stepped into a pool of ice. Her eyes, still half asleep, flew open. She froze for just a second, but long enough. Marcus saw it, that flicker of panic. I don't know what you mean," she mumbled, trying to sound casual. Marcus didn't break eye contact. He reached for the phone that was already sitting beside her plate and slid it across the table. Unlocked. Open. The thread with JT still on screen, her face drained of color. She stared at it, mouth slightly open, no words coming out. He leaned forward, voice quiet but sharp. "You lied to me, slept with another man, laughed behind my back. Aaliyah, why?" She blinked. Once, twice. Her lip quivered. Then tears formed in her eyes, falling before she could speak. "I didn't plan it, Marcus," she whispered. "I swear I didn't." He said nothing, just stared, She wiped her face quickly, as if her tears could fix the mess. I felt neglected, she continued, voice cracking. You're always working, always tired. Even when we're together, you're not with me. He made me feel seen. Like I mattered. Marcus let out a cold laugh. It didn't sound human. More like pain trying to escape through a smile. So cheating is your solution, he said. With him? A man who doesn't respect our marriage? Who doesn't respect you? She tried to speak, but no words came out. Her mouth opened slightly, then closed again. He stood there for a moment, watching her crumble. Watching the woman he loved become someone else right in front of him. You could have talked to me, he said, voice lower now. You could have told me you were hurting. But instead, you went behind my back. Lied to my face. Over and over. Aaliyah covered her mouth with her hands as silent sobs shook her shoulders. Marcus didn't shout, didn't curse. He just stood, quietly disappointed. The kind of disappointment that cuts deeper than any screaming match ever could. And in that heavy, painful silence, he knew. Something between them had broken, and no apology could put it back together again. Marcus wasn't the kind of man to let things slide. Not something like this. Not when another man had walked into his marriage like it was an open door. He needed to face him. To see the man who looked his wife in the eyes while lying beside her. It wasn't about revenge, it was about closure. About standing face to face with the disrespect and choosing power over rage. He spent the next day tracking JT down, full name, company, email. It didn't take long. Corporate men like him were easy to find. Their egos left trails. Marcus created a fake business proposal under the name of his clothing brand. Sent it through the contact form on JT's consulting website. Claimed he was looking for brand growth guidance and needed an in-person strategy meeting. The bait worked. They scheduled it for Friday morning at a coffee shop just outside the city. Neutral, quiet, public. Marcus arrived early, choosing a table in the back far from the main door. He wore a clean-fitted shirt, calm, collected. But inside his blood simmered. At exactly 10:02 a.m., JT walked in. He was just like the photos Marcus had seen, polished, smug, hair slicked back like he owned the world. He spotted Marcus, flashed a business-casual smile, and approached with a laptop bag slung over his shoulder. Marcus stood as he arrived. Their eyes met. You know who I am, Marcus said evenly. JT paused mid-step, blinked. Then his expression shifted, recognition, followed by a smirk. Oh, he said, adjusting his collar. Look, man, it wasn't personal. Marcus tilted his head slightly. You think that helps? I didn't go looking for trouble, JT said, setting his bag down slowly. She came to me. I didn't force anything. You want someone to blame? Maybe ask yourself why she looked outside in the first place. He shrugged, like it was all business. Like what he did was some unfortunate but justified transaction. Marcus stepped closer. Not threatening, just present. Heavy with meaning. You disrespected my marriage, he said, voice calm but tight. My home, my wife. You thought I wouldn't find out? That I'd just sit back and swallow it? JT gave a little laugh, nervous but still arrogant. Man, come on, it's not that deep. Grown people make choices. Marcus stared at him, unblinking. Men like you, he said, think you can take what you want, that our women are prizes for your thrill, that a strong black man like me is too distracted to notice. JT straightened up, trying to keep the upper hand, but the mask was cracking. I'm not here to fight you, Marcus said, because you're not worth the bruises. But I want you to understand something. He leaned in slightly, voice lower, dead serious. I'm not one of your scared little boys. I'm a man. And now, the whole truth comes out. And just like that, he turned and walked out, leaving JT frozen, exposed, and suddenly very, very small. Marcus filed for divorce within days of confronting JT and Aaliyah. There was no dramatic shouting, no messy back and forth, just quiet finality. He packed what he needed, moved into a small downtown condo, and instructed his lawyer to handle the rest. There was no room left for negotiation. Some things once, broken, couldn't be repaired. Love may forgive, but respect? That was gone. But Marcus wasn't done. He'd found out where JT worked, an elite corporate firm known for culture and ethics. The irony wasn't lost on him. He sent an anonymous tip to their HR department, attaching screenshots of the text messages between JT and Aaliyah. He didn't embellish anything, just the facts, the texts, the photos, the proof that JT had used his professional relationship to start something personal and deeply unethical. It didn't take long. Marcus heard through a mutual acquaintance that JT had been called into HR. Apparently, this wasn't his first offense. Whispers began to spread. A pattern emerged. In less than 3 weeks, JT was placed on leave. Then his contract was terminated. The company quietly updated its roster. His LinkedIn disappeared. His reputation? Shattered. Marcus didn't feel joy in it, but he felt peace. Actions have consequences. JT learned that. Meanwhile, Aaliyah was unraveling. She called, texted, sent emails, showed up at his store once, tears in her eyes, voice trembling. She said she was sorry, that it had been a mistake, that she missed him, that the man she cheated with meant nothing, that it was loneliness, not love, that drove her into someone else's arms. Marcus listened, but he said nothing. The part of him that once might have held out hope, the part that believed in working through it, had been buried beneath the weight of betrayal. She didn't just break his heart. She tore down the home they built, together. And for what? A few stolen nights with a man who didn't even respect her enough to be discreet? Forgiveness was possible. Reconciliation was not. He walked away, quietly. With his head high, his spirit still bruised but not broken. His dignity, his self-worth, those remained untouched. In fact, they were stronger now. Months later, he stood on stage at a relationship healing event for men who had been betrayed. Black men in particular, men raised to stay silent, to push through pain, to hide hurt behind strength. He wore a crisp suit, confidence in every step. "My story isn't about revenge," he said, voice steady. "It's about truth, about recognizing your worth, and never letting someone else's betrayal make you feel small." The room was quiet. Every man in the crowd watching, listening, seeing a piece of themselves in him. "I could have fought for her," Marcus continued. "I could have tried to compete with the man she chose, but that's not love. That's desperation. If someone cheats on you, don't fight for their loyalty." He paused, looked into the eyes of every man in the room. Fight for yourself. If this story moved you, or if you believe in standing strong after betrayal, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories. Your support helps us share voices that need to be heard. Thanks for watching, and remember, know your worth.